welcome to Storytime with Yaz. On the weekend we had a garage sale, and at the garage sale we made a lot of money, but we still have a lot left to sell. So if you would like to buy anything, please let me know what you need and I will be able to probably sort you out with it, because I have so many things that I need to get rid of so that I can go on my incredible adventure to the USA for my internship next year. So I was talking to the Holy Spirit about what to talk about this Testimony Tuesday, and he said that I should talk about how I got really free, aka free to be me. And I thought that was really exciting, so I'm going to share with you what I learned. And again, it starts in LA, as most of my testimonies do. And it was on my first trip to LA that I went, and I really felt like a real pull from the Holy Spirit to go to Bethel. And I wasn't really sure why, because I didn't really know anything about Bethel. Like, I didn't know who ran the church, I didn't know who was involved, I just literally knew nothing about them. And I was like, Lord, why do you want me to go to Bethel? Can you tell me? And he was like, just go find out. And I was like, and every single person I met, I was like, hey friend, want to go to Bethel? And they were like, no. And I was like, why? And a lot of them just didn't have their license, or didn't have a car, or just didn't have the time. And I was like, bummer, I really want to go. So my entire first trip, I didn't get to go, and I was so sad. And my last day in LA, I was walking around Pasadena, and my friend Jeremy Fowler actually posted a link to his Facebook on a preach that he'd just done at his church in Sydney, and it was the first preach he'd done. So I was like, I'm gonna support him, and I'm gonna watch it and listen and just learn. And in his little preach, he talked about singing this song Wonder by Bethel, and how during the song he heard angels worshiping with him, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And so I was so excited for him, and I was just like, wow, now I know about this thing. What is Bethel? What is Bethel? Why don't I know the music? And so I started, when I got home from my little wander, I downloaded the Bethel album, You Make Me Brave, and I was like, I really feel like I shouldn't hit play until I'm waiting at my gate, because then I can't get out of going home, because I was just I'm sure that if I hear any of this stuff before I leave, I'm gonna want to stay. And so I was very disciplined with myself, and I was like, no, Yazzie, I know you're excited, but don't do it. And so when I hopped on the plane, I literally probably listened to Wonder for 90% of my flight, and then an hour before we landed, I was like, oh, I should probably listen to the other songs on the album, because they're probably really good too. And when I got off the plane, when I got home, I was I just had all these revelations on the plane, and I was like, this is amazing, I'm learning so much just from listening to this. And I started going through, because I was like, what is spontaneous worship? Why is Wonder only a spontaneous song? And so it got me started on this thing, listening to all the spontaneous songs from all of the worship leaders that were on that album. And so I was listening to Jen, I was listening to Amanda, and I was like, these guys are amazing. And I think I loved it so much because that particular trip for me, the Holy Spirit was teaching me about the prophetic. And essentially a spontaneous song is the prophetic coupled with worship, which was God was really showing me more about as well. So I was like, this is the best. And I gotten all the way down to Steph Gretzinger, and the first song I found was Tip of My Toes, and I was like, who is this chick, and why does she speak my life story in words that are random? I need to know about her. And I literally just looked up everything. First song I found was Tip of My Toes, which, if you haven't watched it yet, pause, go watch it and come back. It's the best thing you'll ever hear and watch in your life. And so I was just like, oh, like, man, like, why did I want to go to Bethel so bad? Like, Lord, like, can you explain? And he's just like, hey, remember that, like, pact you made with me when you were, like, 18? And I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, yeah, I told you that if I ever went to ministry college, the only place I wanted to go was the best of the best that everyone else was kind of, like, mirrored off. And for whatever reason, deep in my soul, I knew that that was BSSM. And I actually just had no idea that it was attached to Bethel. So, when I, like, logged onto the BSSM website, found out that it was, like, attached to Bethel, I was like, what? What are the chances? This is insane. And so I was like, whoa, like, freaking out, like, looking at everything, and the Holy Spirit's like, hey, go on the testimonial page. And I was like, okay, like, I love hearing testimonials, so that'll be fun. So I hopped on there, and I was like clicking through, and I was like scrolling down, and like right in the bottom right hand corner is Steph Gretzing's testimonial, and I was like, I want to click it, Holy Spirit. And he's like, click it, click it, click it. And I was like, no. And I clicked it, and the first thing she says is, when I was about 5 years old, I had this dream, and in this dream there was like country flags lining this mountain to a building that I couldn't see the name of, and I like hit pause because I saw that in a dream when I was 5, you guys. Like, I was bawling my eyes out when this was happening. I was like, she can't have had the same dream as me. And then I like instantly knew where it was going, so I was like, Holy Spirit, I don't want to hit play. And he's like, hit play, hit play. And I was like, ah! And I hit play, and it went on, and she's like, when I pulled into the bottom parking lot at Bethel, I saw it, and I was like, that's why I need to go to Bethel, what the heck? And just like all of this stuff, like every single part of her testimonial, you guys, was like so in line with my journey over that last year prior to that. And I was like losing my mind. I was like, this is so imperative and this is so important. And I like was just like, whoa. I don't have words for this, but it's amazing. And so like from that, I was just like, there is so much freedom, and there's so much that I want to grow in, and there's so much that I want to learn. And I think like just watching Steph's journey from where she was to where she is gave me so much peace. And that's really how I got to being as free as I am, is by watching people's journeys. It's like I'm living vicariously through her testimonies, because half of her testimonies are similar to mine anyway. And so I was just like, isn't it so funny how like the Holy Spirit just like orchestrates everything for our perfect timing, and just how he like wants us to be so, he wants to be so present with us. And so for me, that was a really big testimony. I got back, and I actually was like planted in a life group with the life group of 2 people who I'd actually prayed to be around more, which was so awesome. And that for me was like one of the biggest growing stages in my life, until like the last probably year and a half. So that's a little bit more about my journey, and I'm glad that you can watch it. And I'm just, so you know, like my heart is that like one day I'll be able to do some stuff in conjunction with Bethel, because of what the Holy Spirit showed me when I was 5 in a dream. But I don't know what that's gonna look like, so I'm just waiting it out, and I'm sure like I will one day have an incredible testimony of how that comes to pass. So keep watching this channel, and I'll definitely be letting you know if anything happens. But I just wanted to share that for now, because it was probably like the most encouraging thing. So if any of my story lines up with stuff that you guys have going on in your life, please comment and please share with me, because I want to celebrate you so bad. I love celebrating people. But that's all for now, and I'll see you again really soon. check out this really awesome sunset before I leave. Oh no, it won't go. Never mind. I'll show you soon. Yeah.